Born Cheryl Diane Barco, Nefertiti grew up in the projects of Roxbury, Boston. The neighborhood house in her community offered her a wonderful world of experiences. It was there, at the age of 7 or 8, where she starred in her first play, The Emperor's New Clothes. Every year from the ages of 7 to 13, she went to camp in New Hampshire for a month, where she did archery, boating, rifles, and had all kinds of exciting adventures. She started writing her own plays and having her cousins act them out. As a little girl, she spent hours getting her hair straightened. It was miserable. But at the age of 13, on a shuttle boat to Martha's Vineyard, she saw something that would change her life. She noticed a woman with big, fluffy hair. She had never seen anything like that. She didn't even have a name for it. She just saw freedom. She said, "I bet she can get her hair wet. With that hair, I could swim." As soon as she got home, she went to the barber shop and asked them to cut her hair off. Her mom was furious and didn't talk to her for 3 days. She has had natural hair ever since. In 1965, her parents purchased a lodge in York Beach, Maine, from a Jamaican family who owned the Jewel Inn across the street. For a few years, between the ages of 14 to 17, she worked at the lodge in the summers. She ironed sheets and helped out her grandparents, but she was the only black kid around. After she left for college, she wouldn't return to Maine until she was 25 and had children. Nefertiti did community theater throughout her childhood. Her other passion was languages. She studied French from the 3rd grade through college. She went to the Girls' Latin School, a top high school in the country. It was heavily academic without an arts program, so she focused on languages and planned to travel the world so she could learn as many as she could. In college, she double majored in theater and French, and also studied Russian, Spanish, and later in grad school, American Sign Language. Right out of college, she planned a career in linguistics, but life pulled her to the theater. She did community theater, movies, industrials, and regional theater. She got married and had a daughter. In 1978, while helping teachers use the arts to enhance their instructional skills, she met a young photographer named Akram, who she would later marry. Soon after, she made her first trip to Nigeria, and she was initiated into the Yoruba spiritual practice that grounds her life. While they were having dinner together, beloved civil rights leader and black nationalist Queen Mother Moore said she needed an African name, and named Cheryl Nefertiti on the spot. It means the beautiful one returns. Nefertiti would have preferred a strong warrior name and felt uncomfortable with it. First, she had people call her Nef. It took her years for her to grow into the fullness of Nefertiti. During the 20 years between undergrad and going to Amherst for directing, she was a working artist. Her dreads, a very unusual hairstyle in Amherst, got her some particular roles. She earned a research certificate from the Community Fellows Program of Massachusetts Institute of Technology, where she studied media arts and film production. She and Akram founded and ran Middle Passage Educational and Cultural Resources, which also had a production company. Among many things, they did arts administration, hosted a conference which connected over 30 artists of color to funders, and did an arts exchange to China. With a growing family, she needed more control over her schedule, and after she completed her master's in fine arts at the University of Massachusetts Amherst, she began her university teaching career. The dinner table was always a centerpiece in raising her family. Nefertiti has traveled the world for work and for her adventurous sense of curiosity. She has visited over 30 countries. One of her most memorable trips was to South Africa, where she partnered with theater friends there to devise a play. They worked with young people in 3 townships, and their group of 35 traveled by bus to Cape Town across the country. They performed the play at the largest arts festival in the Southern Hemisphere. Nefertiti later invited some of the South African artists to come to the University of Louisville, where they staged the play with her students. Nefertiti is currently a professor and chair of the Theater Arts Department at the University of Louisville. She served as Associate Dean for International Diversity and Engagement Programs and co-director of U of L's African American Theater Program, and during that time spearheaded the creation of the country's first and only graduate certificate in African American theater. Nefertiti's work as a professor, writer, storyteller, and director explores themes related to the African diaspora. She has written children's plays inspired by traditional Yoruba beliefs and toured them in schools. She has consulted for arts agencies and won numerous national awards. She's planning to retire in the next few months. Nefertiti's other passion is Tai Chi. One of her most memorable trips was a 2014 Tai Chi journey to China, where she got to practice at a Shaolin temple. Probably her most important trip is her annual one to Maine, back to her grandparents' lodge. Now a home for 5 generations of her family, it is her place of peace, grounding, and solitude. Nefertiti Burton, the beautiful one, has certainly returned.